Hello, fellow punters. Welcome to the Bookie Basher weekly show, where presently I'll be joined by the Stig. We're coming this week on a Friday, and we will be quicker, I think, this week than other weeks. My schedule was all topsy-turvy the last couple of days, and so was the Stig. So we'll be back to normal hopefully next week. But for this week, a bit curtailed. But I'd like to ask the Stig what tickled his fancy in the past week.
There was four horses this week that took my fancy, and the first was Delta Work. Now, this horse is obviously well known and everybody knows Delta Work, but this horse caught my eye because of the way he won in Punchestown on Sunday. It looked to me as if he didn't really like the experience around Punchestown, but yet he still pulled out enough to win. I would argue that the cross country in Punchestown is a lot trickier than the cross country in Cheltenham, and I think after showing his well-being and his aptitude for the banks again, I think he's going to be very difficult to beat in Cheltenham. And his performance against Tiger Roll last year, unless something comes out the woodwork, looks like he's going to dominate the cross country just as Tiger Roll did for many years. Brings me on then to Thames Water, who ran in the bumper in Ascot on Saturday. This son of Flemensford won his bumper very impressively and extended inside the final furlongs, suggesting that when this horse steps up in trip, he may even be better again. This horse is a horse I'll definitely be looking out for where he goes next. I think he might rank pretty high in those bumpers that are above average. Might fall short of a Cheltenham bumper, obviously, but those ones around Aintree and maybe Sandown throughout the year, he might turn up in one of those and win a nice pot for a bumper. Now, the next horse was actually the most impressive to me and one that caught my eye the most this week, and it was Rien in Cork on Sunday for Gordon Elliott. This horse was the horse that slipped under the radar going into the race a small bit. He opened up at 6-1 and went straight into 7-2 favourite before the off, so they obviously felt that they had this horse well in, and from flagfall you wouldn't have had really any worries with your money, as he looked to travel all over the field every step of the race. This horse is a horse I could see going in again, maybe with an eye to something like the Pertemps, if he could sneak his way up the handicap. He went up £9 for this win, going from 116 to 125. So keep an eye out for this horse again in the next couple of weeks. Rien for Gordon Elliott. The last horse that took my eye this week was Gavega, who won the 205 in Lingfield on Thursday. The Moors knew they definitely had a good one on their hands here, as it opened with Bet365 at 9-2 and was punted heavily into 6-5, and one doing handstands, winning by 13 lengths. This is a nice looking novice for Gary Moore. She's a half sister to Q Vega, and it will be interesting to see where he goes next with this horse, but it definitely looks a promising one for him.
Tomorrow is the big race, one of the big races of the year. It used to be the Hennessy, and it was, I think, the Ladbrokes. It's now called the Coral Gold Cup. There is 16 declared. The favourite in it actually is a horse that we tipped and backed, Le Milos. It was put up £8 by the handicappers, only carrying a £4 penalty. But I'm just not sure. Is it classy enough? I look back at the video of its last run, and I don't know, even though we collected money and we're in profit, I wouldn't stop anyone from having a few pound each way that we won money on the last time. But three favourites in the last 10 years have won this. That was Bobsworth, Total Recall, and Native River. A 9-year-old last won this in 2009. That was Dinman. 8-year-old won it the last 2 years, and 5 7-year-olds have won it in the last 14 years. And 15 of the last 17 winners have been rated 145 or higher. I came down on a horse that I think that has been laid out for the race, and he has a good record in the race. That's Threeunderthrufive. It has won 4 out of 6 chases. It has won 9 out of 14 races in total, and it had a pipe opener there in Proshima's hurdle race recently. he won 4 in a row there last year, and then he was behind Long Press, but that was heavy ground, better and better ground, and a rating of what do you call it? He's 151. First time cheek pieces. Everything seems to be ready for him to rock up tomorrow into the frame. There's paying 6 players, or 6 players in some places. 5. It's Troy on the 6. At 8-1 and 9-1 in places. I got a pint each way on that. I had looked at Remastered, but the fact that horse is 9 and Tom Scudamore didn't choose it, David Noonan is riding it. I don't know, was that what was the reason for that? Is that tactical or what? But there's a few in there that we have backed before. It's going to be a very good race. So 300-5 is the selection. There's also a horse that had been waiting on to run in the 230 tomorrow. First Street. That was second in the County Hurl to Stateman. And it was second to third in the Betfair Hurl to Glory and Fortune last year. It won first time out in January, so it goes well enough fresh. And then they ran it in the Grade 1 there in against John Bon. It was down the field. But I know it's carrying a big weight and it has to be ready to run. But you'd imagine Henderson has won this before. So Picard had won a maiden hurl, and so did Teddy Blue. And it's hard to know whether well handicapped or not. But I thought First Street had a good chance of a pint win on that tomorrow. I'd like to ask the Stig, has he notebooked any horse or horses in the past week?
So one thing that went into my notebook from this week was a horse called Absolute Notions, and it wasn't just the horse itself that really went into the notebook, it was the race as a whole. So it was the 138 in Punchestown on Saturday the 19th. This was a 2 and 3 mile and a half maiden hurdle, won by a Rob Core horse for Gordon Elliott called Absolute Notions, ridden by Jack Kennedy. And I just think this form line is going to stack up over the next couple of weeks. I really do like the winner, Absolute Notions. It looked like turning in he might be in a bit of bother, and then he just found an extra gear and seemed to just go clear in the running. It was an absolute ease to him once he hit the front and got himself into that extra gear. And I think the form lines here with Deep Cave in second, Joshua the Flow in third, and Ben Odd in fourth, I think all these horses will definitely win races throughout the year. So more so than an eye catcher or kind of a notebook horse in itself, it's the race as a whole. So I would keep a close eye to these horses, because obviously once one goes in, it's going to boost the form of the other, it's going to boost the form of the other. And I think all first 4 horses, even the horses in behind with an eye to handicaps down the line, will all have plenty winners in there.
In the event, I'm going to Wedding tomorrow, and I'm off early in the morning. I'll be going around 7. In the event that I probably won't be doing a video tomorrow evening, the Troy Town is on Sunday in Navan. I had intended to go, but the wedding takes the precedent. I won't be back in time. We have Jungle Prose that won for us the last 3 times, and it's out again. It's £40 higher than its initial win. It won of 85. And then it's shoved up £16 for its last win. It won at 109. But to have it out again quick, and it's only 8 days, that's the only worry. But seeing that it has been so good to our wheelbarrows that we have to back it again, the plans looks to be that they want to win again and get it up into the 130s, that they might go for the Pertemps qualifier over the Christmas or into the New Year, with a view to going to Cheltenham with it. That's what I'm reading. So the Troy Town then is on Sunday. We have a couple of bus horses here as well. We have Frontal Assault that won for us in Galway, but Flash de Toumzain done a good turn for us at 12-1. I think it SP'd at 11-1, or was it 12s, when it won in Galway. And it won well enough, I thought, that we have to back it again each way. They're playing 5 places and some of them are playing 6. It seems to be an unproven horse, but that Ferchard de Large that was behind it the last day has come out and franked the form and won again since. So with 5 place and 6 place in some bookies, that's 1 point each way for that on Sunday. And finally, back to the Stig, just to get his nap next best and each way selection for the weekend. And this week's person that I've chosen is the barbecue man on the bus, Spaldo Aldo. And he'll be the person chosen this week.
My nap selection this weekend is a horse that I've tipped up before, Fil Dor. Now, he ran over hurdles last time, and I have found out since that he'd been doing a lot of schooling over fences, which made sense looking back at his run over hurdles the last day. He was a bit big, a bit bold at some of them. So I'm hoping with that schooling experience over fences that he will put that to good use in his beginner's chase. He's up against the Willie Mullins horse, Samoa. Now, Samoa obviously was a high-class hurdler on his day, but Samoa has to give Fil Dor £8, and just as Riviere de Tel did last year for Gordon Elliott, picked up a lot of pots using that weight allowance to her advantage, and I'm hoping Fil Dor, at 2-1 second favourite, can get us off to a winning start with the first selection. Moving on to my next best, it's going to be Hey Johnny for Tom Mullins. This horse was previously tipped up by Mickey a few weeks ago, and he went to Cheltenham last weekend and unseated at the first, so I do think the horse is going to come back fresh. Hopefully didn't have the run. He's bumping into a Willie Mullins horse here called Enchanted Magic, who's a newcomer for him. This horse could be absolutely anything, of course, but he has to give Hey Johnny £10 on his first start over hurdles in Ireland. I think that's going to be a tough task for him. So at 4-1, I think Hey Johnny is a great each way selection there. If you can get bigger on the day, of course, go for the bigger odds. But at 4-1, if he places, you'll get the majority of your money back. And I can't see him out at the places in this race. My final selection then is a bit of a speculative one. It's Street Value with Danny Mullins doing the steering in the 105 in Gowran Park tomorrow on Saturday. He's currently priced around 12-1 at the time of filming, and he's off a mark of 126, and I think he has a bit of wiggle room off this mark, especially because of the going tomorrow. The ground is key to this horse. He needs heavy to be at his best, and tomorrow, going by the going description in Gowran Park, it is currently heavy. This is a horse as well you could play as an in-play bet. This horse may come off the bridle turning in, but he's going to stay all day, just as he did in Cork when he won on heavy ground. But at 12-1, he's a great each-way selection, and they are my 3 selections for the week, and I'm hoping for a good return.
A bit shorter than usual for me this week, but we'll be back to our more detailed show next week. In the meantime, from me, Mickey D, and from the Stig, bash the bookies. Over and out.